Mike here, welcome to another episode of TA Outdoors. I'm back out in the woods and I'm testing another survival kit. This time it's much smaller. It fits inside this tiny tin. It's been put together here in the UK. I've got my dog Jax here as well with me today. We're going to be setting up a shelter, camping out and hopefully testing as many of the items as we can from this survival tin and seeing whether it is any good. Initial impressions are it's very small, it's compact. This can fit in the cargo pocket of my trousers no problem, or the side pocket of my backpack. It's very small, which means it's also going to be limited to what is in it compared to the previous episode of the survival kit that I used. I should mention that I paid £19.99, which is almost exactly the same as last week's kit, but that other one was on a deal. This one was not. It's around about £20. This is the Limitless Equipment Survival Kit Mark 1. It's put together here in the UK. I think it's over in Oxford that they put these together. They say that there's over 40 items in this little tin for survival. Quite a reflective lid, which could be used as a signalling mirror.
So for some reason, my microphone stopped working for this first segment, but this is basically a rapid application tourniquet system, or a RATS tourniquet. This has been used in the military. It's the fastest combat-proven tourniquet on the market. I think it's a great thing to have in the kit. It would be good to have a little diagram maybe of how to use it for people who've never used one before, but it's really good to see this in the kit as the first thing that's on the top of the tin.
You guys probably recognise this. Take it out the plastic. A good old wire saw. This wire saw looks a lot better than the other one. The actual wire saw is pretty much the same, but there's no split rings compared to the other one, which just broke on me. These have rubber tubing on the outside. They're crimped together. It looks much more sturdy to grip. So we'll definitely test this out compared to the previous ones. I'd be interested to see how much more improved that will be having a grip like that. Some copper wire. They've listed this as snare wire. I'm not sure. I think it's 0.6 mil diameter. It slides on itself really easily, so I guess it could definitely be used for snare wire. And all sorts really. Wrapping around things to keep them tight, closed bags and things. Interesting. Next up is 2 Ranger bands, again to secure things together, but also flammable. They'll burn well once they get a flame taken to them. We have, oh, this is different, a sewing kit, a small sewing kit. That's nice to see. Didn't have that in the previous one. It's nice to have a needle. There's a safety pin in there as well, 2 buttons, multiple different strands of cotton with different colours. I like that. That's a good touch. It takes up no room in its survival tin, so I think that's really nice to have. Anything you rip, clothing on your backpack, straps and things that you need to redo, that's really handy to have, so I like that. A button compass, almost exactly the same as the previous one that was on the paracord bracelet, although this looks a slightly larger. Yeah, it stays there pretty well, to be fair. That's for a button compass. That's actually quite good quality. North is always pretty. My ring's probably actually putting that out on the hand a bit. Yeah, it works. North is staying north. A whistle, looks like a whistle, and there's a ferro rod on the side there. Oh, there we go. There's the striker. Is this any good? Because the last one on the bracelet was rubbish. Got to get the coating off. There we go. It's better. We get sparks. I like that it's got a little clip on the end there as well, so it's all secure, the striker. But it's nice to be able to have the striker totally free and not tied to it. So that secures back in there. And then the whistle. The main test for me with the whistle is to get my dog back. He's over there. Let's see if it works. Good boy. It works. Yeah, that's not bad at all. It's an improvement, definitely, on the last one. Well, this is new for a survival kit. For me, anyway, a tampon. That looks like a tampon, which I'm guessing will be used to take the plastic coating off and can be fluffed up and used with the fire steel to light a fire. That's interesting. I think that'll be interesting. We'll try and get a fire going later with that. I guess you could use it to staunch wounds a bit. They used to have these in military kits. I can't remember if it was the UK one or the US one, was it? In the 80s, some guys had them to put in bullet wounds or something. I'm not sure. I don't think they were actually used, but I know they have been in some military kits in the past. What is this? That looks like petroleum jelly, kind of Vaseline in a little vial with a sealed lid. So that paired up with that is kind of a flame extender that will make the tampon last a lot longer when it's ignited. Great for wet weather. That's really useful, actually, seeing that. You could also, I guess, use that for cuts, burns and scrapes, certainly burns. I think that's a really good addition. I've never seen that before in a survival kit. I like that. That's a good touch. So we'll try that later, and possibly in the morning if we can halve this, because we're due to get heavy rain overnight, so everything's going to be soaking wet in the morning. We can try and get a fire going with the Vaseline on the tampon. I have to pick it up because I'm sure you guys are wondering. Yes, that is a condom. Doesn't have any lubricant on it from the looks of it. I'm guessing this is used for water collection, probably. That's probably the main use I could see, because you could actually store quite a bit of water in them. Yeah, interesting. I've never seen that in a survival kit too. But it's flat, it's small, it doesn't take up much room. I'm not sure it's totally necessary, but we'll see. It's definitely water collection is the best thing I could think of it for. A scalpel, single sterile, single use carbon steel, single blade scalpel. You wouldn't use that as your cutting tool because they're very flimsy, obviously deadly sharp. More for the medical side of things. Can't see myself using that. Interesting to have in the kit, but it's more of a first aid thing, I would say. Some cable ties, 2 cable ties. That's good to have. You don't really see those much in the small tins like this. They're only small cable ties, but you could, there's so many uses for cable ties. I think that's nice to have. Would have been good to actually have a few more. You could have fit a couple more in there really, but that's good. Got some more adhesive dressings, Steroplast ones, which are normally really good. 2 different types of dressing there. You can kind of make out the shape of them. This is, I believe this is a light. 3 small kind of button style batteries, cells. I just took a little cover off which was stopping the light from going on, and then there's this rubber seal here. Oh, there you go. It's a red light, good for your kind of eyes in the dark. Means you're not straining your eyes as much as the white light. That's really neat. I like that. Wouldn't be a full-on torch like a head torch, but we'll test that out tonight when it's dark. But it does have this seal, I guess, so you can undo the contacts so it turns off, and then that seal just keeps the lid on. That's neat. Not seen that before. 2 paper clips, 2 safety pins, handy for bandages, all sorts of things really you could use these for. But that's good. I have these in my first aid kit anyway. I would prefer I've got bigger ones, safety pins. It's quite nice to have the big large ones, and you could have fit those in the tin as well, the larger ones, but always handy to have. More first aid, alcohol wipes, brilliant things to have. I think that's a great idea. It's just when you get small cuts and grazes, that's really useful. So see 2 of those is good. Some salt and some sugar. Keep your electrolytes up, and for if you have some food. Water, what are these? Water purification tablets. Each tablet you put in a litre of water and leave it for 30 minutes. Obviously once filtered water, really, mechanically filtered, but that's good. That's a really good thing that wasn't in the last first aid kit. It's nice to see. Oh, these are neat. I've got a few of these at home. 2 small chem lights, mini ones, really tiny ones. So you snap these, the little vial breaks inside of them and the 2 chemicals mix and they glow in the dark. Again, good for map reading, good for leaving near your shelter if you need to get back to your shelter at night, good for hanging on your key rings or your knife sheath or something so you don't lose it. I think these have an 8-hour glow time, so handy for literally overnight. They're only small, don't take up much room. A sharp pencil and a notepad, which feels waxy. That's a good touch. I like that. If you needed to write down coordinates. I mean, it is waxy. I wonder if it's that waterproof paper. Only one way to find out. So write's okay. Let's see if it's waterproof. Yeah, it definitely sheds the water. Doesn't smudge when it's wet. Will it still write? It does. That's neat. Waterproof paper and a pencil. This looks like a coffee filter. Not seen that in the kit before. And actually that's a good idea. So I'm guessing that paired with water purification tablets, You use the coffee filter as your kind of mechanical filtration to siphon out a lot of the sediment and dirt in dirty water, drip it into another cup or canteen, and then treat that water chemically with the water purification tablets. I mean, it's a great idea. I've not seen that before. It might have been better to have like a handkerchief or something just folded down flat in there. Wouldn't have taken up much more extra room, but could be used and reused. The handkerchief could be turned into char cloth, it could be used as a bandage and you could tape it round any wounds. Again, filtration, it would last a lot longer filtering sediment than this would, but that's still a great idea and very, very light. The bonus of this is it's flammable as well, so it could be used as a flame extender and tinder, keep your fire going a bit longer. Then finally at the bottom, some aluminium foil, which could be used for signalling, for cooking, boiling water, making a little trough, and obviously the tin itself can be used to boil water, although is there a seam? I think there's a seam around it, which means it might leak. It's like one of those seamed ones. There is the contents from a bird's eye view. All in all, quite an interesting kit, lots of quite useful things in there. I think I've been done again though, guys. There was meant to be, I just had a look on Amazon, the page that I bought it from and the pictures, and there was meant to be a fishing kit in there, which is a no-brainer for me, certainly for a pocket survival kit. There needs to be a fishing kit in there. There was in the pictures, there wasn't in this tin. And also there was no paracord, there was no cordage. There was in the picture, there isn't in this tin. That's twice now, 2 times in a row. I've ordered something online, a survival kit, and items that were in the picture were not in the box itself. Just goes to show, I'm obviously unboxing these on camera, like I say live, but in real time. I'm not pre-looking at them back at home. So that's my own fault, which is why I'm opening them and they've not got all of the equipment in it. However, this does come with a fishing kit with 2 lures, I think 2 hooks, and pre-tied, which is really good. And it does usually come with paracord, but it didn't today. This is the wire saw. Same length as in the previous episode, but this time these thumb grips or these finger grips that are reinforced with rubber are so much better, and it's crimped on. We've got to give it a go, haven't we? Let's find some dead wood, start sawing. Now, last week's episode, when I was using the wire saw, I wrapped it round the tree and I made a really acute angle of it like this, like a U shape. I've done a lot of practicing now with that saw, and it doesn't work well at all. It pinches if you have it as a U shape, if you have it really acute. So you actually need to keep it as straight as possible, like this, as opposed to like this. It's going to pinch. The straighter you can keep it, the better it's going to cut. That's what I found when I practiced with it. But you do need some kind of angle. See how it doesn't pinch? These finger grips are so much better. It does burn the old shoulders. But look, it's not pinching. It's all down to the technique. Whee! That is not a bad cut. That's actually really quite clean, and it didn't pinch, but these were awesome. Hooking my middle finger through that, so much better. So that was a vertical stick. I don't know if you saw, but I kept my arms as straight as possible. There was a little bend. There's nothing like this, that acute angle which just pinches. It really burns your shoulder because you're kind of doing that all the time. And you also burn a lot of calories doing it. So now we're going to try this horizontal log as if you're going to cut sort of firewood piece sizes. This is about 4 or 5 inches in diameter. I could try it, it might pinch. Let's see. Yeah, it's pinching already. There, it's stuck. Widen it. Never pinches. Ooh, the burn. Hey, there we go. That was the diameter. It's slightly dead, pretty dead, but wasn't rotten as such. It was easy enough to cut through. Nice to know it works a lot better. Right, having now used this wire saw with these rubber eye loops, it is leagues better than the previous one, which had just the split rings, the metal split rings, which bent out on me and just cut into my fingers. There is another trick, and I saw this in a survival book. Who was it? It was either Les Stroud or Lofty Wiseman, I can't remember. But there's another trick that you can do with these, because that burnt my shoulders. That was a lot of energy. Let me show you. I'm going to need my bushcraft knife for it, but let me show you. That's what I want. I'm going to loop one end of the wire saw handle on that notch just there, like that. The branch is kind of already bent. I'm just going to kind of bend it a bit more just to guide it with my knee. I'm sure some of you have figured out what I'm trying to do. There we go. That's pinched. Look at that. A bow saw. Using the wire saw. There's the notch I made. I probably should have gone a bit deeper with the wire saw. We'll see, because it will just ping out if not. But now, I think calorie wise, having a saw like that is going to burn a lot less calories than me having to do this. We've got to give this a go, right? It's absolutely guitar string tight. Don't know if you can hear that. That is so much easier. There we go. So much easier doing it with this than it was with my hands. That is so much better. The wire saw in general, cutting things kind of that diameter, I find it takes a long time, even with this, compared to just a small folding pruning saw. This takes a lot longer because it's just not got the teeth. I would say twice as much energy. It takes easily twice as long to cut this with a wire saw than it would with a folding pocket saw. That's my opinion on these wire saws. So aside from the survival tin, this is the basic camping gear that I've got with me. Sleeping bag, a tarp for a shelter, inflatable sleeping pad, bivy bag because we're due a lot of rain overnight, and a bivy bag's great for keeping sleeping bags dry. My bug kit, which you've seen before, my first aid kit, they come with me all the time. My ration pack, the food, and a spork. And my bushcraft knife and 2 litres of water. So I've found a nice clearing between a big beech tree here to my right and a cherry tree to my left. There's plenty of space, there's a nice amount of light coming through. I've got with me just my DD 3x3 metre, or it's not quite 3x3 metre, it's 3x2.9 metre super light tarp. I have all my cordage pre-tied on it. I do this because it makes it easier to just set up my shelter. I'm not sure what configuration I'm going to go for yet. Probably a lower down ground, because I'm ground sleeping and I've got jacks with me. We're going to go for a low, kind of low profile shelter, I think. And I use these little pulleys at the moment. The reason being, I just have them clipped on the end. They are quite heavy duty, they're galvanised I think. It'd be nice if they were in a lighter material. They're roller cams, they're really good, but it means I can quickly unclip them and then move over, because I need the middle ridge line tied out, and I can just clip this straight onto the middle one without having the need to re-tie any knots. If ever my tarp gets slack and I need to tighten it, I just pull on this pulley. It's a one way and it just locks on itself, the teeth there, so it just gets all that tension really easily. Then to loosen it, I can just press that lever there. They're useful. I use them quite a bit now. Here's the thing, I've got to show you this because it's just happened. Where I'd left the wire saw on the bow, it's stretched over time and it's actually snapped and given way. I say it's snapped, what's happened is it's pulled free of the crimping. Don't know if you can see that, because the rubber's just slipped up a bit, and there's the wire there's the frayed wire at the top. So thought I'd let you know. That's interesting to know as well. Leaving it on here on the saw, perhaps not the best thing to do, because there's constant pressure on the crimp then. Learning lessons all the time. Shelter. I went for this setup because it's lovely and open, but it feels enclosed, so I've got a really good view of the forest, pretty much 180 degrees. There's loads of room under here if it does rain, which is due to get really heavy rain overnight. I think it's coming in at about 3 or 4 in the morning. If it does tip it down, then we've got loads of space under the back here to get all the gear dry, but also still be able to see out in the forest. I don't think there's strong winds coming with it, so we should be good in terms of this shape. If it was really strong winds, I probably wouldn't go for this shape. I'd batten it down a bit more and maybe go for more of an A-frame triangular shape. But I think this is ideal. There's no wind at the moment, it's just rain that's forecast. If it gets heavier, the rain, then I might slant this down more to run it off and just have more of a tent style. That's shelter done, Jax, hey? So before I get the fire going, I thought I'd just test out the snare wire and just see, you know, what we can do with it. It is very, I think they said it was 0.6 millimeters, so probably not so good for like your rabbits and things like that. You want something a bit of heavier gauge, but I guess something like a squirrel, it might be, you know, useful for it. I've just got this little stick. Just going to wrap it round twice. Like that. Then I'm going to wrap it around, turn it that way, and just keep wrapping it around this wire that's protruding out. It's a very rudimentary way of doing it. Gonna leave a bit of a tag in because that can act as a fur catcher and also encourage a squirrel to get their head through the noose. So now I'll go back to my stick. I'm just going to snap that end, slide the loop off. There we go. Loop and a tag end. Get the memory out of it. So copper's great because it doesn't rust. Get my other end, run it through the loop, and then I have a snare. If I put my hands in there, you might be able to see it. As it pulls tight, the snare pulls tight. There's the snare, pull, tight. It slides really well actually with this thinner gauge wire. Okay, now I'm going to put this on this stick. So I'm only showing this really to just see how effective the wire is. I'm not actually setting this trap and leaving it overnight or anything. I'm taking it off as soon as I do it. So I've got a branch here. Normally I'd put it in an area where there's nuts around, or the husks and shells of acorns, beech nuts. There's loads of beech trees here, so they'll be on the beech nuts, hazelnuts. And I put the stick, try and get it from the same area, lean up against the tree, not too steep, not too flat. About the thickness of 3 fingers. Any wider and they can just run around the edge of the snare. So any narrower and they just won't climb up it. But I'm going to now attach this to this log. So it's quite hard to see and it's very rudimentary. It's actually almost too fine, this wire, to get it to sit right. But the squirrel essentially would come up here, get its head through there, get stuck, pull and fight, fall, and then its head, it gets caught up in the snare, it pulls tight and it hangs away from the branch, and then you're able to harvest it and collect it. Okay, so I've got my fire lay, got a load of sticks, load of dry twigs here as well. Wind's picked up, which will probably help with the fire. And I've got the tampon and the Vaseline. So I wonder, I might cut this with my knife so we can use half tomorrow. Just gonna fluff it up. Petroleum jelly. So I'm ready to tuck this under there when it lights, if it lights. It lights pretty fast. Come on, come on, come on. It is a bit of a flash tinder, so in fact I'm glad I used some of the petroleum jelly, because that was such a flash tinder. That was going up a lot quicker. Well, it's cotton wool really, it's like cotton wool. It just goes up really fast. I've kept over half a vial of petroleum jelly and half a tampon for tomorrow when it's really wet. We're due to be wet anyway. We have a fire still that works, ladies and gentlemen. Thankfully. This is my French individual combat ration for tonight, menu number 7. This is the contents. You've got your heater there, I think it uses hex tabs. You've got muesli for breakfast, some crackers, energy bars, cereal bars, drink powder, isotonic drinks powder there, tuna, I think that's tuna, a chocolate kind of yogurt pudding, salad here, salmon with salad, vegetarian main meal there as well, curry, tissues and hot drinks, tea, coffee and hot chocolate. Right now I just want some energy bars. Get them down the hatch. Very nice. So all the food in this French ration pack you can eat cold, but they also provide a heater, and I've got a fire going anyway, so I think I might just use the stove. This is the stove, and just heat up this food. I've done it before. You can just peel the tin open slightly. What we got? Matches. Is that more matches? Toothpicks. That's cool, with a French flag on them. And the stove legs. And water purification tablets. Oh, that's handy. So that's also in the French ration pack. In like that. Make a little dish. Put the tablet in a minute. This is so that you can lift the hot meals. It just hooks on like this, and then you can lift it up off. You leave it on, or you can just hook it on and lift it up off the hot stove when you need to. That's quite cool. I've not seen that before, not used that before. But let's heat this up. Matches in a waterproof bag. Hopefully these are better than the British matches, which are absolutely terrible. These are solid tablets, they're not the gel ones. Oh, there's loads of matches in there. Wow, they don't skimp. That's a proper set of matches. Take note, British MREs, who have about 4 terrible matches in them. Doesn't look, it's really windy today. There you go, that has lit. You can see that? Hopefully you can see that. Tablet is lit. I'm going to let it get a bit more flame. Don't know how long they burn for, but let's heat this up. Having done this before, I am going to chuck a second tablet in there, because I remember before if you use 2 it just cooks it and warms it a lot better. Even put a bin bag in there as well. Trash bag. I like that. Very good touch. 5 minutes in and we're bubbling. What do you think, folks? Oh, that's really hot. I don't want to burn it. Do you reckon that's enough? I mean, it's bubbling, so it's got to be enough. I should have probably put it on before, but then it would be too difficult. Oh, I like that. That's a great idea, that. That's really, really nifty tool, that. Can even use it to peel it back. Oh, it's just about cool enough to hold. Nice. It's a vegetable chili. That's what it is. The flavour's a chili. There, it's nice. I'm glad I only gave it 5 minutes. It's only partially burnt on the bottom. If I'd have given that any longer, I think we'd have been in a bit of trouble with burnt food. It was 2 tablets for 5 minutes and it was perfect. Eating like a good boy. You get extra special treats. So Jax normally has dry kibble at this time in the evening. We are 6:15, but he's going to get a bit of a special treat with his kibble this time. He's going to have some of the cod pate. You're going to love that. Wait. Try this Mont Blanc chocolat. I think it's a pudding, like a yogurt, a mousse maybe. Yeah, it looks like a mousse. That's very rich. I thought that would be better. That wasn't as nice as I thought it was going to be. Feels like autumn's in the air. We're on the edge. The leaves aren't changing colour yet, but the temperatures in the evenings now are definitely dropping down. It's getting towards having to wear a jumper in the evenings. I love autumn, cannot wait. Such a nice time of year. Sunset's 8:15 now. That's another thing with autumn coming. I'm going to boil some water in this, and the reason I put the aluminium foil in there is because I think the seals on this, the seam, might leak if I pour water in it, so it's kind of double security, and I can also get a little bit more water in there. So that about there, it's really full. That's 200 millilitres if I'm reading that right. We have small bubbles. That's 7 minutes in. I haven't really put this on very hot coals, folks, as well. Some of these hot coals around here. It's only like small sticks because obviously I don't have an axe. I've not split up big bits of wood. It's all small stuff. It's just a test, really. They said you could use the tin for this, so we're going to use the tin for it. I don't know if you can see this, but it's actually leaking through the foil and it's bubbling underneath and boiling underneath. You can see it popping just over there. So maybe it didn't really need the foil. Ah, it's so hot though, I can't really get the foil out. Let's put a bit more in there. Maybe we didn't need the foil. What we can do is actually use the foil as a lid and do it that way. Trap the heat. Just speed up the process a bit. Put some hot coals on the top. Whereas when the tinfoil lid's off, obviously it's going to evaporate a lot easier, a lot quicker. Yeah, look, boiling. There we go. Good to know the tin can boil water, and it doesn't leak as bad as I thought. Actually, I don't think it's leaking at all. Right, I don't really want to waste the water, so I'm just going to get that off the fire. Carefully does it. Use some of the coals to get this hot chocolate on. The hot chocolate's just about cooled down now. Pigeons have come into roost. It's lovely, really peaceful. Jax is, if I do know that he's asleep. Well, he's not asleep, but he's lying down on the sleeping bag. Now that's a good hot chocolate. That's better than the mousse. I'm not going to crank up the fire loads because it's summer. It's still double figures in Celsius at night. But there is, I looked on the app, my weather app, and there is rain coming in at about 3 in the morning. Really heavy until, I think, lunchtime tomorrow. Ten to 8, we've got about 20 minutes until sunset. But it's dark, it's really dark in this woodland anyway because it's a dense beech woodland. Going to break one of the chem lights and then we can time how long it's going to last for. I think they said it was 8 hours on the tin. Two vials in that one. There we go. Good glow on it really actually. They're only tiny, they're probably 2 inches. But for reading a map or notes and things like that at night, or just trying to find certain things on the floor and trying to keep a low profile, they're great for that. Keeping it hung up on one of the guy lines, tying it to a guy line on your tarp or tent so that when you go off, if you need to get something in the night and come back, you can look for that small faint glow. But we'll see. So that's 8 PM. I 100% think that's not going to last till morning because it's an absolutely tiny one. I mean, you can see it right back here in the top where it's dark. It's pitch black under here, and yeah, you can see it on my hand. It's great for, I guess, map reading and things close up at dark. It's good for that. It's a handy thing to have. It doesn't take up much space in the kit at all, and it's very lightweight. I think that's a good shout. I'm not new to these chem lights. I fondly remember these as a kid. My dad used them lots actually at night fishing, certainly in the winter months. He would lash these to his fishing rod when he was either beach fishing or river fishing and things like that, and that way you would see the bite. You don't have to see the rod top, you just see the light doing that, and he'd know that there was a fish on. So I used to love playing with these as a kid, and I think my dad used to put them in the refrigerator after using them that night if he came back that night, and they would glow for hours longer than they normally would. I'm pretty sure that's what he did. I'd have to ask him, but I remember putting some in the fridge for him as well. Cool pieces of kit. I like it. Attach it to the edge of the backpack. Lots of things you could do. To the zip. Nice, that's really good. I like that a lot. Low key, it's not super bright, just good for finding things at night and putting less strain on your eyes. I would say actually with the map reading, obviously the OS maps have red contour lines, I believe, so I'm guessing this would actually clash with that and you wouldn't be able to see the contour lines as well with it being red. So that's where the chem lights would come in, where they're a different colour. And definitely keeping a low profile and not wanting to be seen. That's really, I think that's great for the size. It packs a punch. It's quite a strong little light, and then it's just a case of twisting it. I mean, it's got a little loophole, so you could hang it and have it as a little night light if you wanted to. Just hang it from the top of your tent or your tarp. I've actually kept the rubber ring on it, so I can just turn it on and off like that. It's not going to turn on itself. I've never seen a light like that before, sorry. Never seen one. So tiny. So I guess the downside with these small lights is it's obviously not a headlight or a torch. The previous survival kit I had a torch, which was easily powerful enough to do what you needed it to do at night, whereas this, if I needed to find my way in the woods in the dark, this isn't really going to cut it. I'd have to be holding it quite low to the ground, and I'm not sure with those small batteries how long it would last. warm pillow. We are going to call it a night. It's not that late. It's only probably coming up 9 o'clock. I've got 2 young kids at home, 4 and 2, so I need all the sleep I can get. Trust me, when I'm out here in the woods, I've got to make the most of it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think the rain's coming in middle of the night, just after midnight. Meant to be heavy, and we'll try some wet weather fire stuff, and yeah, other bits of the survival tin in the morning. I keep him on his lead at night, just in case he bolts. When I'm in an open tarp like this, I tend to keep him on his lead, because if he sees a deer or anything like that, he will absolutely go. His instinct just kicks in, and I don't fancy trying to search for my dog at night with a tiny little red light. I do obviously have a camera light, but anyway guys, I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Morning folks, it's absolutely tipping down. I've been up for a few hours with Jax. We've had a walk. It's been non-stop rain since about 4 in the morning. This tarp's been great. So glad I bought it. Tons of space under here. Everything's dry except me and Jax. We're a bit wet where we've been out, but I'm going to try and get fire going with, now it's super wet weather, with the Vaseline and the other half of the tampon. So I'm going to go collect some sticks, and then we'll crack on and try and get a fire going. I like the sound of rain on the tarp though. So I dipped down one of the corners of the tarp overnight. Glad I did. I think I might use the condom and hang it up in the corner of the tarp and see if it will collect some water. We'll see. So I've just attached the condom to the edge of the tarp, to basically the pulley here, the little roller cam. I've just put it on the latch because there's so much rain. It's really heavy rain this morning, as was forecasted. This is 5 minutes this has taken to fill up that much. It's going to stretch even more. It might snap up here, I don't know. Normally this ring bit's pretty tough, so we'll see. And I'll see how much water it can collect in 5 minutes off the tarp. But I figured that's quite a good use for water collection. I don't have to do anything. I can do stuff around camp. You can see the bubbles here. It's absolutely flowing down, and it's going to stretch down even more and fill up even more. But it'd just be interesting to see how much that actually collects. We'll measure it later. It's still going. It's almost going to overflow. It's really actually quite impressive how much that's holding. It's about to overflow there, so we'll give it a little bit longer. There's a good amount of water there. If you're in a survival situation, you'd be really grateful for that much water. Right, so these are the 3 items I need. The fire steel, the other half of the tampon. We've got to keep this as dry as possible until last minute when we need to light it. It's still got that plastic cover on it. This time, before I fluff it up, I'm actually going to wipe the Vaseline on it first. Keep it more condensed, I think. We got one shot at this, folks, in the heavy rain. No pressure. It's actually stretched even more. How heavy is it? Wow, that's going to snap soon. Look how much water's in that. That's impressive. I don't know how long it's going to go before it gives. It's obviously getting bigger down here, so hopefully we still got a lot more room. I've got one empty water bottle, and we'll see how much that fills. So I bought 2 litres of water with me. One of my bottles is empty, but it's got all these markings on the side in millilitres and ounces. So I'll let you guys know how much this will produce. You know, you're looking at about 500 millilitres there, half a litre, I'd say. By the time that's here, half a litre, I reckon you'd get half a litre from there. I'll just make sure it's properly empty. They are wet. The fire pit's totally wet at the bottom. It's making a fire lay, which is to sort of keep it off the ground, keep it a bit dry. Not that it matters at the moment. And I'm going to put 2 sticks in an X shape like that, so I can lift it up, keep it off the ground. I can basically put those there and lift the fire up. But we're gonna give this a go. Look, it might fail, who knows? Wow, first time on that. That's burning a lot slower, which is good. Gonna keep the camera rolling so you guys can see it is burning. Oh, it's just gone out. Okay, let's try again. Hopefully you can see that. That just went out. Perhaps I didn't fluff it up enough. Maybe. Let's try that. Good fire still. That's better. That's better. Go on. So that's Cactin Vaseline. Airplane coming, folks, just to give you a heads up. The audio won't be nice. What we're going to do is let that flame, that's it, get through there a bit more, roll it. I want all these light small twigs to get going, because they are wet. That's why it's so smoky. Let's get the next batch ready. So now that's coming through good. Gently lay down the next batch. Gonna lift it up a bit, let some oxygen in. There you go, you'll see the flames come up now. That was really good. I think we're gonna be all right. I've just raised it about 1 inch off the floor, just to let some air underneath the fire, because I'll put it out otherwise. But I think we might be all right, folks. Who knows? Vaseline, it still burns quite quickly. Ooh, it's smoky. I can hear it hissing. That was a one-stop shop, that. Oh my days, the condom is about to rip. Let's go and check that out, because I think we're going to have to pour it out. It's going to rip. Here we go, we got fire. Just a word of advice for anyone, if you do end up using a kit like this, and any kit for that matter, with these strikers on the fire still, on any fire still striker, it's worth trying it both ways. So for example, this way, and it looks exactly the same, but striking it this way, there's barely any sparks. Whereas if I turn it over and do it the other way, way more. So any survival kit you get, it's well worth trying the strikers both ways, because often they will strike better, and they're designed to strike better going one way. But I'm really impressed with that. That's really good. So much better than my last one, if you want to watch that video. And the whistle built in as well. That's really good, and it's nice and flat. So good piece of the kit, I think, that one. Okay, condom update. I think we're at max stretch. It's going to snap, so I'm going to fill it in here. This is 20 minutes of water. I'm going to fill it up, And then I'm going to re-put it on there and just see. Wow, that is heavy. Oh, it's really tricky because it's going to fly out. Right, how much have we got? Oh, 550 millilitres in 20 minutes, half a litre nearly. By the way, that is 18 ounces of water. This is 32 ounces this goes up to. Let me show you the drip. You see where it's dripping off that clip? That is essentially where I am clipping this in. Just like that. And now it's running down. I'll show you this side. You see it running down the side here, the bubbles? That's the water running down. It's filling up quick already. Look, you can actually see the water level moving up. Can you guys see that? You can see the water level rising. Don't need a massive fire today, this morning. Just want a hot drink. Try some of that coffee. If you guys are interested, I did a video last year on bushcraft, 20 odd bushcraft tips in heavy rain or wet weather, fire lighting, everything. They're really good tips. I think the video's had over 2 million views. It's a really useful one. I enjoyed making it. And if you want to learn more about wet weather bushcraft skills, I'll put a link in the description below, or just type in 20 bushcraft tips heavy rain on YouTube and you should be able to find it. But this rain's not going anywhere today. Coffee time. I'm impressed with that kit so far though. There are a few things I would change, but so far so good. Muesli for breakfast. Just says add 100 ml of warm water or cold water, so quite easy really. Ooh, chocolate muesli, chocolate powder in there. Gotta love good old English weather, summertime. That's about 100 ml. Smells really nice. I am quite impressed with this French ration, to be fair. I think I'm going to try more of these. They like their chocolate in the rations, that's for sure. There's a lot of chocolate in the French ration. Can you guys recommend any other rations? I think I've done USA, Slovenia, French, German and British. That's it. I've not tried, oh, and Norwegian. I've not tried any others. So if you guys have any suggestions, can you let me know in the comments? This looks lovely. Look at that. That looks really nice. If you like chocolate, you'll like this. Let's try a bit of the French instant coffee. Forgot about the glow stick. Still the faintest of glows. And that's 13 hours later. But I definitely agree they do last 8 hours. That's for sure. Gotta say, French instant coffee and the military ones, I'd say that's the best one yet. That is the best instant coffee from an MRE I've had. Put it that way. In fact, that is one of the best MREs. Not the best, but one of the best. A couple of bickies before we pack up the rest of the gear. Right, the rain's slowed down now, so I think we'll stop this there, see how much we've got. That is about 600 millilitres in 45 minutes. One thing I guess I haven't shown is the water filter. And the issue with these is normally you have them supported by something. But if that was dirt, well, it is technically dirty water, it's off a tarp, so it's not amazingly clean. But this is what I would do. This is why I bring 2 bottles all the time. I always have 2 litres with me, but 2 bottles. Put the filter in there like that. This is the condom water, tarp water. I'm holding onto the filter because they do sink. And then I just let that drip. You can see that dripping now. And then each time I just top it up a little bit more each time. Good idea. Kind of only a one-use filter, but I've never seen it in a survival kit before. Yeah, to be fair, that is coming out quite a lot clearer. And that is my mechanically filtered water. All it needs is to get it up to a litre and then just use a water purification tablet and it'd be good to go. This is why I love tarps. Look how dry it is under here. You get so much room inside them as well to move around compared to a tent for its size. I mean, it all fits in there. I'll put a link to this tarp in the description. I live by this tarp. I use it all the time. This and the regular 3x3. This is the ultra light, the super light 3x3, but I use the regular one as well. This is so good. Packs down to nothing. So what are my opinions on the Limitless Mark 1 survival tin or survival kit? Compared to the last kit, it has a lot more useful, less gimmicky items in it. There's still a few items in there that are a bit gimmicky or maybe just not really necessary, but I do like the fact it's got a sewing kit. That last one didn't. I do like the vial of petroleum jelly with the tampon. That's a great idea. It's compact, it's small, and as you can see in soaking wet weather, it got that fire going, whereas it probably would have struggled if I didn't have that. I really like the whistle and the ferrocerium rod. It's only a small ferro rod, so it won't get tons of sparks, but for kind of those survival situations or short-term situations where you need them, I think that would be really useful. And I like the fact it's dual use. It's got a whistle as well. Strikes off sparks really easily. I was really pleased with that. The wire saw, it is what it is. It broke on me. It's much better having those loops. I do prefer that. And it was easier once I made it into a bow saw. But wire saws, I can see, they have their limitations and they are, you know, they are limited. I like the fact it's got a pencil and the waterproof paper. I do think that's a good touch. The water purification tablets are a must. They're so small. I think they should definitely be in a survival kit. The copper snare wire, I had a look back at my footage, by the way, of that snare. It was really quite bad, so apologies for that. I was just trying to demonstrate what you could do with the wire. If you're interested in a kind of traps or snare video, let me know and I'll put something together. Just drop a comment in the boxes below and I'll see if I can put something together, like a video of multiple different traps. I like the fact they've got first aid in it. They didn't have much first aid at all well, they had no first aid in the last kit, so that's really good. All in all, the light sticks, I like them. That's a good idea. I do like the little red torch, although it's not ideal for map reading, but it's handy to have. I think the scalpel was pointless. I don't think I need a scalpel at all in a first aid kit, yes, but not kind of in this tin. I don't think it was necessary. I wish it had a knife. I really wish it had a small knife. It would make things a lot easier. It's got the wire saw, so why couldn't it have the knife? I got done again by not having the fishing kit. Gutted about that. It does come with a fishing kit. Mine didn't. That's my fault for not checking it. I guess what I've been trying to do is to open these on camera, having not seen them before, rather than see them at home. I wanted it to be a real experience for you guys to unbox it with me as such. That's twice I've been burnt now with gear that's meant to be in these kits that hasn't. So I think the next kit I'm going to have a look at home just to double check that I've actually got everything. But all in all, it's a step up from the last one. It's, for a small pocket kit, it's got a lot with it. It would have been good to have a little mylar blanket in there as well. I think there's space and it's the perfect size. The whole point of this series, guys, is for me to, I'm not promoting these things to, you know, sponsorships and things like that. I'm paying for these kits. I just want to test them properly out here in the woods, in these conditions. You know, rather than just unbox them at home and talk about the items, I want to be using them properly for overnights. Down the line, I think we're going to do some multi-day trips in it. At the end of the series, I want to be able to put together my own kit. I've already got my own kind of pocket kit and things like that, but I'm interested in testing all these other ones, because by the end of the series, I want to gather the best of all of these items from these kits and make my own version of what I think would be a really good pocket kit and slightly larger survival kit. I have 2 more kits on order that are on their way to me. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I will link, if you enjoyed this, I'll link in the description below the survival gear kit test playlist that I've been doing. Don't forget to watch the previous episode as well. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Hello, Jack.